All right, let's dive right in. We're going to tackle one of those terms you hear all the time in tech, but it can be, well, a little confusing: full stack. And to really get what it means, we're not just going to throw definitions at you. Nope, we're going to take a real working application and pull it apart, piece by piece.
I mean, you've probably heard it, right? It's on job descriptions and blog posts, but what does it actually mean to build a full-stack app? It's really more than just a buzzword. It's a whole philosophy for how you create software from the ground up.
So, at its heart, full stack just means you're building the entire thing. You're responsible for every single layer, from the pretty user interface that you actually see and click on, all the way to the server in the background that's doing all the heavy lifting, and even the database that stores all the information. It really is the whole shebang, from front to back.
And to make this crystal clear, we're going to look at a fantastic project by a developer named Maria Murad. She built a production-ready, multi-user to-do app, and honestly, it's the perfect example to break down.
Okay, first things first, let's just look at the project itself. Before we dive into all the techie stuff, what does this app do? If you were a user, what would you see? Let's deconstruct it from the outside in.
So, as a user, this thing is super polished. You can create an account, you can log in, you can add, update, delete your to-do items, all the standard stuff. But here's the key: it's secure. You can only see your own tasks, and it's all wrapped up in this really nice, modern, animated interface. These are the core features that all our technology has to make possible.
Now, what's super cool about how this project is built is its architecture. It's not just one giant blob of code. Instead, think of it like this: the front end, the back end, and the database are all separate little applications. They're independent, they can be worked on separately, but they all talk to each other to get the job done. This approach, it's called a microservices architecture, makes the whole system way more flexible and easier to manage. Okay, so if you've got all these separate pieces, what are the actual tools you use to build them? Let's get into the blue part and check out the specific technologies that make this app tick.
And this table just lays it all out perfectly. You can really see that separation of powers here. For the front end, the part you see, we've got Next.js and TypeScript, which are amazing for building those slick user interfaces. Then, for the backend brain, we have FastAPI, which is a super fast Python framework that's just perfect for building the API. And finally, for storing all the user and task data, there's PostgreSQL, a rock-solid, reliable database. See, each layer has its own specialist tool.
All right, now let's pop the hood and look at the engine room. This is the stuff you don't see, the backend and the database. This is where all the real magic, all the heavy lifting actually happens.
So the backend here is really well put together. It's built with that speedy FastAPI framework we mentioned. Then it uses a library called SQLAlchemy. Think of it like a universal translator that helps the Python code talk to the PostgreSQL database without any issues. And it's got another tool, Pydantic, which is basically a bouncer at the door, making sure any data that comes in is in the right format. It's also split into logical parts, one for authentication, one for the to-dos. That's just good, clean design.
And all of this leads to maybe the most critical challenge for an app like this. How do you make absolutely 100% sure that one user can never see another user's private data?
Well, the answer is a really solid process called an authentication flow, and it uses something called JWT tokens. The best way to think about it is like a digital key card for a hotel room. When you first log in, the server checks who you are and gives you a special, secure key card, the token. From that moment on, every single time you ask for your data, you have to flash that key card. If you don't have it, or it's the wrong one, the server says, nope, not letting you in. It's simple, but incredibly effective.
And the database is designed to back this up perfectly. It's actually pretty straightforward. You've got a table for your users and a table for all the to-do items. And here's the magic link. Every single to-do item has a user ID attached to it. That one little piece of data creates an unbreakable link, guaranteeing that every task belongs to one and only one user.
Okay, so that's the engine. Now let's talk about the experience, the part that we as users actually see and interact with. Let's dive into the front end.
Front-end work is always this tricky balancing act. On one hand, you've got the aesthetics. You want it to look good, right? This app uses this cool glass morphism design with smooth animations that make it feel really nice to use. But on the other hand, it has to be functional. It has to work. Every time you click Add Task, it needs to reliably send that request to the backend. This project really nails that balance. It's not just a pretty face, it's a solid, functional tool.
So you've built this amazing application, but it's just sitting on your computer.
That's not very useful. Getting it online for everyone to use is a whole other challenge. So in this last section, let's talk about the launch and the key takeaways from the whole process.
And this right here, this is where that whole microservices idea really comes to life. Remember how we said the front-end, back-end, and database were all separate? Well, they're even hosted in separate places. The front-end lives on Vercel, which is built for apps like this. The back-end is on Hugging Face Spaces, and the database is on Neon. They're 3 distinct services running in 3 different places, all talking to each other to create one seamless experience. Pretty cool, right?
So what do you actually learn from building a project like this from scratch? Well, it's not just one thing. It's the entire process. You learn how to build a secure system for users to log in. You learn how to design an API, manage a database, and then figure out how to get it all running on the cloud. It's a whole package, a truly comprehensive skill set.
And I think the developer, Maria, just says it perfectly here. She says that building a project like this isn't just about becoming a better developer, it's about becoming a better problem solver. And that really hits the nail on the head. It's about tackling big, complex challenges.
You know, when you see a project broken down like this, step by step, it makes it feel so much more achievable. It shows you that even a complex, full-stack application is really just a collection of smaller, solvable problems. It kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it? What idea have you been thinking about that you could build next?